Redditors who are friends with famous people, what are the benefits or disadvantages you encountered due to your friend's fame? Two of my friends were pretty tight with Dave Chappelle for a while. He'd text them to see if they'd want to hang out at some of the less crowded bars in the city. He's married and has children, so I wouldn't see him very often, and it took a couple times to not be weird around him. People actually started treating him like he's a person until he went back on tour. I was able to watch Chappelle show with him doing live commentary. That was pretty incredible. An old childhood friend of mine became a screenwriter. He mainly co-writes and stars in indie films, relatively small budgets by Hollywood standards, but he and a colleague have been able to cast a few A-listers and have netted several awards. As far as the advantages, I've been offered small roles in their films. They invite me to parties and I occasionally get to meet some stars, writers, composers, etc. The disadvantage, if anything, is that he tends to be busy and it's difficult to hang out with him these days unless there's an event of some kind. But we're adults and this tends to happen. Regardless, I'm very happy for him, and whenever we do cross paths we pick up right where we left off. So this is how my Space Jam 2 movie will get made. PM me. I'm pretty good friends with a professional football player. We were really good friends when we were younger. I live a few hours from the city he plays in, so when I visit we just hang out at his place. It's hard to go out in public there, but when he visits me, a few hours away in a small town, we can go to a bar and it's not too crazy. He's pretty much rich but has never gave me any money, though he always buys the beer and dinner and pays for anything my family does with him. I don't really talk to him during the season other than a text here and there. I know a QB for an NFL team. He always paid for stuff and gifted me tons of gear, even though I wasn't a fan of his team. He is really nice about people recognizing him, and I thought that was sweet. My mom's cousin is Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. Growing up we were going to all of his shows and always had all access passes to do whatever we wanted. We could eat anything from backstage, grab anything from the gift shops, etc. He would take us on stage before the shows and show us around. Through him I met Pamela Anderson, Kid Rock and Eminem. I have a lot of limited edition stuff signed from Uncle Steve Tyler, but other than that it hasn't changed my life all that much. My mom would never take money from him even though he would always try. Well, it's not a friend of mine but the father of my best friend since childhood. He's one of Norway's most famous comedians. Pros: free tickets to everything which they would bring me and my friends. He would occasionally drop some funny jokes. Cons: really annoying walking around with him in public and him getting recognized by fans. And two little kids don't exactly enjoy waiting all the time when we are going for ice cream or some crap. Was seriously involved. Now I'm questioning how seriously involved I really was with the lead singer of a famous band. Honestly, it was like any other relationship. We had cute dates. I offered to split the bill and he let me. Sometimes we bickered like a normal couple. He farted on me in his sleep, etc. We never really partied with the band or anything with the exception of 2 times. Most times he was tired from touring and just wanted to have dinner and watch TV. Benefits: getting to check out awesome hotels and restaurants in my city that I normally would never have gone to. Disadvantages: it sucks when you really like someone and after a while realize you're just a stop on their world tour. I was stuck at my job and he would send me pictures of whatever city he was in that day. After a few years of touring, the band took a break to work on a new album and such, and he had no reason to come to my city anymore. Just got a text from my sister saying you are her mascot, so this is awkward. I'd name the band but I'm still in the playing it cool so not to seem sad phase, and this would definitely get back to him somehow via social media. You better not be talking about Creed. Buddy of mine's father was a huge star in the 80s. He's a main character in one of the most famous 80s teen movie you could imagine. And this kid, holy crap, he is like identical looking to his dad. I really didn't see it as a big deal when I was a kid. Looking at it now, I mean, god dang. He sees his dad on the tube by accident all the time. One thing that stood out to me though, years later, was a comment he made when we first started hanging out. We did theater together, and my dad, a local cop, was also a carpenter, and would volunteer to build these badass sets and design all sorts of neat stage props and pieces. Like really cool, intricate things. My buddy had always admired my father. He turns to me and says, "Your dad builds things and fights crime. He's pretty much a superhero. Your dad rules." My dad passed away from brain cancer pretty recently, and the whole statement meant very little in comparison to what it means now. This kid's dad is a celebrity, and here he was, very often bragging about my father. Kinda bizarre, but I wish my dad heard me brag about him more. My cousin is in the Zac Brown band. He's fairly successful. I know my parents and a lot of my other family have mooched tickets and hotel stays off of him. I'm not into country music though, so his concerts never interested me. I'm not interested in the band and don't listen to their music. My apologies for rustling gimmies. Oh, goodness. I like country enough to have gone to a Zac Brown show that someone else had tickets for, and damn it, I'm glad I did. They skimmed through a few of their famous tunes but mostly played 20-minute jam covers of classic rock. Everybody in that band has their crap together and kicks butt. Your cousin is a fantastic instrument player, whomever he be. Well, Philip Phillips is my second cousin, so he's been in my home and workplace. It's kind of annoying when I'm out with him at a bar or something and a huge crowd gathers for autographs and things. In high school, my best friend's cousin was very famous. Pros: backstage VIP passes and meeting other people who were famous at the time. And I might have mentioned our association a few thousand times in my life. Cons: none for me, although I have cringed at some of the career choices made by the celeb. Still, lasting 20 years in the entertainment industry, I still feel proud. I'm going to guess Backstreet Boy. Not quite a celebrity, but my girlfriend's father is the CEO of a large, wealthy, well-known company, and though I don't know the extent of their wealth, a simple Google search puts the family over $1 billion. As for advantages, I only have to mention their name to anyone in town, and my status has been elevated. Even my boss mentions it as dating a local celebrity. I try not to bring up the detail unless people push me for it, because I don't like to brag or consider it anything more than it should be. My girlfriend and her parents. In terms of disadvantages, I would say I feel in flux with my status mentioned with the family. They are an old, established family, and have more formality in their family than I ever had. Such as my brother, whose favorite phrase to use around people, especially family gatherings, was "sea nugget." I feel expected to meet this formality at times, even though I prefer not to. My girlfriend isn't a fan of it either, and feels bad inviting me to things where I have to dress up and be formal. It's hard to talk to these people when your main topics of interest are physics, computer programming, metal, and video games. I usually lean on sports, since that is a safe topic I also enjoy. Her dad is also a little weird about us dating. After 2 years, he referred to me as his daughter's friend, and not boyfriend, which may be more of his delusion that his daughter is dating someone. While it is more formal and sometimes awkward for me, everyone in her family and extended family have been nothing but nice to me so far. While I was looking for a job, her parents allowed me to stay at their place until I did. And even then, her dad physically helped move me into my apartment, because outside of work he's your average Joe. He even built a chicken coop and is raising chickens just because he wanted to. All in all, the good definitely outweighs the bad, even though the bad is more just me adjusting to a different situation. Even though I'm a fish out of water, I try to be myself and focus on making my girlfriend happy, because that matters more than what her family thinks. I work in film and TV, so I have a couple of famous people I am friendly with. Advantage: they give you free C. Disadvantage: they give you free C. I'm pretty decent friends with Penn from Penn and Teller. The advantages are I get to go to pretty much every show in Vegas and he got me tickets to Comic-Con. Not too many disadvantages. I'm friends with Chief Keef. Man, I do not know how to describe the dude. He's sporadic, but I love him. He's a pretty scary guy if you don't know him, but when you get to know him, he's kinda like a black iron giant. Anything he talks about in his songs, it's true. Sadly, he's got all the guns. He does all that gang banging crap. I used to be a part of that, but since he got famous, he's given me and my family enough money to move out of where we were, into a nicer place. I'm in Atlanta right now, talking with music executives. He's really gotten me on my feet, had me on some songs, etc. I'd say the benefits are that he loves helping people, and he's a giant teddy bear. I'll call him up and say, "Hey Keith, what's up?" and he'll give me a rundown of his day. He's in LA right now for rehab, and I hope this shapes him up a bit. I'm friends with that pastor who got defrocked for officiating at his son's gay wedding. Haven't been invited to a single party. Defrocked sounds like such a dirty word. Defrock me, baby. Defrock me good and hard. I'm friends with Adam Scott. When he was in Australia in 2012 I played a round of golf with him. He's the nicest, most down-to-earth guy. I know, the world #2 golfer, not the actor from Parks and Rec. Dang. Got all excited because I thought you were talking about the Adam Scott from Parks and Rec, who I'm sure is also a perfectly nice person. I was friends with a pretty famous actor. When he died recently I didn't get to find out through his family or other friends. Instead the media had made it their top story within hours of the accident and I had to find out that way instead. I had to be reminded every time I went on the computer, turned on the TV, went to the grocery store. I would say that's a pretty huge disadvantage. My dad works at Nintendo, so I know Reggie, and he said that if you want to get Mew you have to turn your game on and off 165 times then go into a battle. He tells everyone he knows this so people in public like him. You're probably the kid that told me I could move the truck to get Mew. Interestingly enough, I'm friends with a DJ who's known for being a pioneer in the techno world. I say interesting because he's kinda well known here, even though he got his start here. But if we hung around in Europe, I'm pretty sure I'd be swimming in strange. I am friends with a Hollywood celebrity. He comes out to Australia all the time and we hang out when he does. Benefits will be all the cool things I get to go to and see. For example, getting backstage. And I get to meet other celebrities. Another funny benefit is the famous by association assumption. We had drinks after a performance at the Opera House and there were 2 international celebrities, 1 national celebrity and myself. A girl asked for photos and autographs and she kept on giving me a weird look before asking for a photo with me and asked for my autograph. I work in IT. Disadvantages would be for us to have an actual catch-up, uninterrupted. We would have to chill in the hotel room or my house. Out in public everyone comes up and says something and wants to say hi. Also, I am always the guy taking the photo. At the aforementioned concert at intermission there was a line down to our seats that people lined up in and I just took photos for the full intermission. Adding hints. Originally from UK, he still has a house there but mostly resides in LA. Still has the UK accent. Worked in TV and movies. Mostly comedy genre. More hints. His best friend is a female Australian actress. Not many people know he is also a singer. Another clue, it isn't Hugh Laurie. I'm guessing Matt Lucas. I worked for an A-list actor for a while. He was a multiple Oscar winner and at the time a walking green light. We were friendly, so when we traveled for work we would hang out. The most stark reminder I had that he was not an earth mortal was one night when we went to a club in South Beach. The front of the club was mobbed by people trying to get in, so we headed to the back entrance. This too was mobbed, though with more attractive people. We walked to the front of the line and the moment the security guard saw his face he lifted the velvet rope. A different security guard escorted us up the back stairwell. We were met inside the club by the club's owner, who was a minor celebrity in her own right. She must have been alerted that we were coming by the security guard. She led us to the VIP area of the club. Just as we sat down at our table, which was the best table, right in the center of the VIP area, a waiter plunked down an ice bucket with a bottle of Moët. The club owner asked us if champagne was alright. The actor said he actually would prefer a Cosmopolitan. Within minutes, a cute bartender shows up with another ice bucket. Inside this bucket is a bottle of Absolute, cranberry juice, and lime juice. She also has glasses, a shaker, and a bottle of Cointreau. She makes us Cosmos and then withdraws to the side. When we wanted another we would look at her and she would make us another right away. She was our personal bartender for the night. People outside the VIP area could see that the actor was there and they were screaming from the dance floor, trying to get his attention. Inside the VIP area we were surrounded by a crescent of gorgeous women wearing tiny outfits. They were just staring at him. I was never much of a fan of going to clubs, and after that night I knew a big reason why. I am not famous. For famous people, clubs are wonderful. Something else, he always liked flying private, but he didn't own a jet nor did he ever pay for one as far as I could tell. He borrowed them. His assistant would hustle whatever jet she could find. The Sony jet, Harvey Weinstein's jet, etc. Once we went to the Hamptons. Did we drive? Of course not. We took the Sony helicopter. Cost to him $0. It's good to be famous. I'm friends with an actor you'd all recognize if I said her name. Big advantage. Disneyland. You get a person assigned to you to take you to the front of every ride. Multiple times if you want. We did the whole park in about 4 hours. We were told, politely, not to take pictures of the behind the scenes areas, but it was cool to see them. Disadvantage. Watching them pose with pictures for an hour as you're trying to leave a restaurant. Observation. People do not treat celebrities like people. I've seen people come up and say your last movie wasn't very good, was it? Why do you think that is almost as bad are the people who act like they have some sort of inside joke with them just because they've seen them on TV? Would post pics, but none contain a banana, so scale is impossible to determine. I live next door to one of the guys in Def Leppard. Pros. He is an incredibly nice guy. He's not loud at all. Lives a clean and decent life. Has a lovely wife, and gives me tickets and backstage passes for shows. Cons, honestly, none. Sometimes his dog barks, but really, he is awesome. Never talk politics with a politician. Just don't. One of my friends is embroiled in a gay rights issue with her own sister. It's all public and out in the open. They want to be friends with someone who knows them for who they are, not the public view. Also, it's rude to ask who is the Secret Service here. I only asked once because of the oddball situation we were in, and even she didn't know. Heck, some of those caterers look familiar, I guess. Actors and actresses don't like to talk shop. They talk about their roles to the press so much, they are sick of it. What's it like working with whomever on recent film over and over during press junkets, like every 8 minutes for hours? I know one guy who raises prairie dogs as pets. I ask him about that. I talk about their holidays, family, not in the public eye, and hobbies. When Douglas Adams was alive, nothing was more boring to him than his books. But ask him about his new computer, his smile lit up, and he'd skip appointments just to talk to a fellow geek. If you are with someone famous, and you're not as famous, people will come up to them and ignore your presence. Okay, I am mildly famous to locals in a marginal industry, but if I am hanging out with someone famous, like at NYCC, it's like I am not even a person. It's not just me, but everyone they are with. I recently hung out with a famous model who hosted a TV show. She was a guest at our table, and her boyfriend has the most infinite patience. I have seen him pushed aside like a stray tree frond or cut off in mid-conversation with her without so much as a sorry. It's like some people think famous people are public property that don't have a real life or need for personal freedom and privacy. Everyone assumes you're rich. Everyone gets disappointed when you're not also famous. People bug the frick out of you. Paparazzi following around. Newspapers fill up with rumors. Unless you have money, fame isn't that fun. Sure, you can get women, but only so they have a story to tell their friends or to get benefits from you. Eventually you have no idea who is a real friend and who isn't. Fun if you're a sociopath, I guess. Everything's fun when I'm a sociopath. I'm friends with a few players on a crappy NHL team. Basically we go out to certain bars and try to slay a few. Play video games and play road hockey in their driveways. Not bad. My sister is friends with Eminem's daughter Elena. She comes over a lot but we aren't supposed to talk about him. My sis gets to hang out with him sometimes. She said he really is crazy about not wanting to be seen by people and not making a big deal about his celebrity. I've never met him but I am so jealous because I am his biggest fan. It is seriously like someone is playing a mean joke on me since I am so obsessed. I was once in a serious relationship with a famous singer. Benefits: knowing you are privileged to be part of the true side of a public figure. First class travel to anywhere. Flight, hotels, everything. VIP access to most places. Material comforts are easier to experience. Disadvantages: dealing with fans. Lord, the fans. Insecurity. I was never an insecure soul until I started dating this person. All of a sudden every physical flaw about myself that I once accepted became huge issues again. Did I mention the insecurity? Some may say I was lucky to be with this physically beautiful person who also had her own insecurities. The occasional diva attitude. I've had to check her a few times when she was rude to wait staff, maids, etc. Every time she too ready and I wasn't able to go. I missed her immensely. We talked every day on the phone, but my insecurities really messed with my head. Although I will never name who I dated, she's still quite famous. She has completely blocked me out her life because I called it quits. Even after she told every person she was close with how much she loved me, I ruined her trust. The insecurity is the worst thing to deal with when dating a famous person. I have friends at varying levels of fame due to where I grew up and the industry I work in. I was recently hanging out with a friend that has reached a pretty high level of wealth and fame. He was only in town for a little while, so I met with him and his friends at a house in the Hollywood Hills. It was insane. Exactly what you think being famous is like. Ridiculously beautiful houses, hot models running around, other famous faces all over the place. Everyone you talk to is some kind of big shot and lots of drugs. I happen to be sober. Anyway, after hanging out for a few days I suddenly realized when we were all out to dinner that I had become part of an entourage. It had never occurred to me before that and it completely tripped me out. At the end of all this, my biggest observation about my friend and what his life had turned into is actually pretty sad. See, everyone in this environment was very happy and positive all the time. Complimentary about everything anyone said or did. Basically completely full of crap. I realized my old friend no longer has any idea who really loves him. Be it women or bros. He doesn't know if they want something from him and he has become pretty paranoid as a result. TL. Doctor, being famous makes it hard to tell who your friends are. I'm friends with and used to, until recently, live with Yahtzee Croshaw, the zero punctuation dude. There were neither pros nor cons. Really, I suppose he is just not that famous. I work as a PA for a celebrity, and the benefits aren't bad. Work from home, set my own hours, can attend college at the same time, but the cons outweigh sometimes. Not great pay, no taxes paid, and on call around the clock. She doesn't have a lot of knowledge about tech stuff, so I get a lot of calls for dumb stuff, and I often have to pretend to believe in what she is selling. The worst, though, is the I know it all attitude when it comes to health, and always she talks about what I eat, how I live my life, etc. She even told me that she thinks I'm wasting my talent attending college for the course I'm taking. Yet, I can't buy organic whole foods on what you pay me, so you just go ahead and eat for both of us. Okay, it gets annoying. Sometimes I think, today I have to meet with her. What is she going to say to shame me today? Go to be Gwyneth. Dated a pro cheerleader for around 2 years. Free tickets, parties was awesome. Dudes calling my girlfriend a stupid stripper W and asking me if I could get them her number was not awesome. I'm friends with my mom. Hung out for like 18 years or so. You probably know her. She's pretty famous on Xbox Live. Oh crap, I know her. We had a thing a while back. The Prince of Nigeria emails me quite regularly. He is very generous. Just waiting for him to deposit some money into my account right now. I'm a long-term girlfriend of a guitar player for a popular band. Pros: occasionally, free shows, free drinks, meeting other bands. Cons: he's away for months at a time on tour domestically and internationally, and it mentally takes more out of me to cope with the fangirls. I really have to trust him during that time. I'm often more alone than with him in the relationship due to his consistent touring, recording, practicing. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.